Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes' Tottenham blog and to another episode of Transfer Talk. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Tottenham's late bid to steal William Saliba from Arsenal, and as well our links to another Leeds player. Now before I get started in the video, if you do want more transfer content like this throughout the remainder of the window, please subscribe to the channel down below and like this video. William Saliba is an 18-year-old central defender who plays for Saint-Etienne in the French Ligue. He made 19 appearances altogether for the club last year, including 16 in the league. Now Arsenal have been in talks to sign him for quite a while now, and it was a deal that was really expected to get over the line. There's football whispers who use a load of different algorithms to calculate the likelihood of a transfer. Sky Sports use them a lot for their transfer blog. They said it was a 4.9 out of 5 to go ahead just this morning. But Tottenham have apparently swooped in with a late bid to try and steal him from Arsenal. There's a lot of differing reports about it. A lot of outlets, including the BBC, are reporting that we've agreed a £30 million deal to sign him. Sky Sports don't believe the deal is as advanced as that and that we've just entered talks with the club. And then other outlets like Football.London believe that we've bid the same as Arsenal in £27 million, but there's a load of different add-ons on the deal that make it a more lucrative deal for Saint-Etienne. Another important part about this is in the deal that Arsenal had agreed, they were willing to loan him back to the French club for a year, but apparently Tottenham aren't interested in doing that. And I think that could be a thing that sways the deal either way, depending on whether or not Saint-Etienne want an immediate replacement for him, or if they'd prefer to keep him for another season and address that issue next summer. It's not really known which they would prefer, but I think that could be something that really sways the deal either way. Sky Sports as well were saying that if Saint-Etienne accept the bids from both clubs, it will be down to the player to decide who he wants to go to. And I think from his point of view, it could be a difficult decision, but mainly because we're so far ahead of Arsenal at the moment. It's fair to say both of us are probably losing our best centre-backs this summer in Toby Alderweireld and Lauren Koscielny. But for him, with the kind of problems that Arsenal's defence have been having in the last couple of seasons, if game time is his main priority, which I imagine it should be, and potentially money as well, the Emirates might be a better destination for him. But if it's purely like just going to a better team, without trying to be funny about it, at the moment we are a better team than Arsenal. So I think if that's his main priority, we should have no problem in signing him. And it's no surprise really that this news has broken on Sky Sports at the same time that we've heard that we're in talks to sell Alderweireld to Roma. And I know a centre-back wasn't really a priority for Pochettino, and that was regardless of whether or not we sold Alderweireld. But that seems to have changed now with this Alderweireld move kind of picking up pace now. It does look like Pochettino is now eager to replace him, and William Saliba could be a really good replacement for him, because at 18 years of age to have played almost half the games in the French League for a club as good as Saint-Etienne, obviously they're not up at the top, but they're a good club in the country. So for him to have played so many games at such a young age, I think it is a really good sign of the potential that he has. And again, he falls into that category of players that Pochettino wants to bring in, young players, preferably under the age of 23. And I mean, the fact that he already has that first team experience only makes him more appealing to Tottenham. And I think there's a few things there that make him kind of what I would see maybe as a prime target for the club. When he started playing football at the age of 6, he was actually coached by Kylian Mbappe's father. So I know it's not a massive connection, but there's something there that would suggest he's had a good kind of development as a player. In terms of his strengths, he's quite similar to Toby Alderweireld. He likes to tackle. He's a really kind of focused, concentrated player, and his ball interception and blocking the ball and stuff like that is another thing he thrives on. And as well as in possession, he likes to dribble with the ball, and that's something that Toby Alderweireld kind of brought to our play when he joined. That he liked that, bringing the ball out of defence and stuff like that. And that seems to be a priority for Pochettino this summer, kind of making our counter-attacks more fluid. Because as I said before, that's something we had back at White Hart Lane, but making that move to Wembley, we lost that kind of style of play. And bringing in players now like ball-playing centre-back Tanguy and Ndombele, who's really good at making that transition of play, and then a few quick wingers as well. It does look like he's kind of prioritising that. And even like kind of researching William Saliba, there's not a lot about him. He's not a very well-known player. But Tottenham's main scout is actually a French League expert, and he has had his eye on this player for quite a while. So it's not something that we're kind of just stealing him from Arsenal. It is a target that we had, and now that Alderweireld is leaving, that plan has kind of been put into action. So it is again a player that we haven't really heard much of, but when you look into him and you kind of see what's going on, it is potentially a really exciting signing. And I hope it's not a thing if we do get him that it's the same as Jack Clark. We're going to loan him back to Saint-Etienne, especially because he's a replacement for Alderweireld rather than an investment in the future like Clark was. So it would be good to see him come into the team this season. Obviously, there's been a lot of players that Pochettino has brought in that we didn't really feel would be important players for us, but because of his work with youth, like look at players like Dele Alli and Juan Foyth especially, they're young players, we hadn't heard of them, brought in, we thought, it's going to be a player he'll be loaned out a few times and forgotten about and he'll be sold for a couple of million in a few years. But Dele Alli, obviously such an important part of our team, and Juan Foyth, not as much obviously, but he was really breaking into our first team last year and he was a star player for Argentina in the Copa America this summer. So because of the management that is in place at the club, these small signings can still be so beneficial for us. Obviously not this season, but in the long term, every single signing is big and every single signing is important because of the potential that they all have. Now, another player that we've been linked to in the last day or so is Leeds midfielder Kalvin Phillips. Now, Phillips has been a main target this summer for Aston Villa and they've had an £11 million bid rejected. And the reports yesterday were saying that we've now offered £30 million for him, which I think is a lot of money for a championship player. But he's a deep-lying midfielder who is similar to the kind of player that we like in there. He's really good both in and out of possession. He likes to break up opposition attacks and then himself create moves for us, for whatever team he's playing with. He's really good in orchestrating the play from the middle of the park. And I think £30 million for a championship player it's a really high fee. And I don't know if that's quite believable, but I would believe the links between the Tottenham and the player, because obviously we've already signed Jack Clark from Leeds, but the link between Pochettino and Bielsa it can't really be ignored, because obviously they have such a good relationship. Pochettino was previously called Bielsa his footballing father, and for Pochettino this summer, because he might not be getting the main targets that he's identified, apart from obviously from Tanguy and Dembele, but because Bielsa and his players already have that really similar style of play to what Pochettino wants at Tottenham, I think players from Leeds might be good. Obviously not as first team players, but adding that squad depth, that might be a good way to bring in players who are already kind of proven in this style of play that Pochettino likes. And as well, it seems interesting that Leeds seem to be selling a lot of their really important players this summer. Obviously, they've already sold Jack Clark to us. They offloaded Pontus Jansson to Brentford, and players like Kemar Roof and Kalvin Phillips as well are also expected to leave this summer. So I think it might be a good one to go for. Leeds bringing in a lot of young players and seem to let go a lot of their good players, which is really strange to see, especially how close they were to promotion last year. But I do think it might be a good target for us to go for. Obviously, he's not a player who's played in the Premier League yet, but the kind of quality of football that Leeds were playing at times last season, it was at a Premier League level, and obviously they let themselves down at the end of the season like they usually do. But he was, a really good player for them. They did well in some of the cups as well, and he was a key part of that. So I'll be interested to see how this one develops over the next week or so, because Leeds and Tottenham are both going on their pre-season tours soon. I think Leeds are going off to Australia, and of course Tottenham are going to Singapore. So if it is something that's going to happen there, I do imagine it to develop a lot over the next week. Otherwise, it'll be really late in the window before anything happens, and that's obviously not ideal for either club. Tottenham getting him in, and then Leeds obviously replacing him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that over the next week or so. That is all for this video today. If you do want more transfer content like this over the next 4 weeks or so, please subscribe to the channel down below. It's completely free, and like this video. Thanks for watching.